How you guys doing today? This your man VeracityTT with another tutorial. We're going to talk about the FabFilter Pro Q3 and 3 reasons why I love it. And I mean, it's gemmed out. So a lot of y'all might ignore some of these features or just don't pay attention, but FabFilter Pro Q, that is it. It's the shit. And I'm finna show you why. Alright. So what I like about it, look down right here. Y'all see that? That keyboard. Once you know the key or the scale of your track that you're working on, when you boosting, you might want to boost frequencies that's within your scale. These will tell you the keys. So for instance, if you're using something like auto key, and just for example here, let's put it in C# minor. It shows you which keys you need to press and which ones you don't. So when you go back here, I want both of these up. If you in Pro Tools, if you want more than one plugin to show up, you just push shift on that plugin and then it'll show up with the other one. So key tip, Jimmy, for you. All right, so you see right here where I had this boosted. So let's say I wanted to boost to 2K, around 2K, right? And this is my scale. When I look over here, the key that I'm on right now is within the scale. If I wanted to cut, let's say I want to cut 300 hertz, somewhere around at 300 hertz, right? When I'm cutting, a lot of times what I'll do is I won't cut what's in the scale, because musically and sonically you want these keys to be, you know, present more than you want the off keys in it. So whenever I'm cutting, I always look for the area that sound closest. Like for instance here, this will be the area I would cut if I was trying to cut 300 hertz. I look for the areas that's within this key scale that's not there. So this is not in the scale. That's a D4. This is D4 here. That's not in the scale. So that would be the area where I cut at. Now, when it comes to the music, if I feel like I'm not hitting the spot that I want, then I'll just slightly keep moving this and get as close as possible. And sometimes I might even widen it like that. But my notch is going to be always off scale when I'm cutting. If I'm boosting, I'm gonna always make sure I'm in scale, because you want to boost the tonality that's for this particular key. This is also a gem if you're sound designing and you have a sound. This way you can cut out unwanted tones. Sometimes it's not always just about making things sound crispy or clear or getting rid of mud. Sometimes you just want to use the EQ instead of maybe a compressor for a certain tone. And this is how you can do that. And instead of cutting and boosting like this would be the second reason I love it. You right click on that, you make it dynamic, and then I'll put this back on 0 so it'll be like that, and then pull this to however many decibels I want it to cut. That right there, yes. So this auto button here, this is how you set the threshold of this dynamic EQ. All right. Yeah. And that's why I love it, because you can do that. And then another reason will make it even more fire. Let's say I'm fighting with a piano, my voice fighting with a piano. I might want to boost this area on my voice, right? I'll right click this notch and go to stereo placement and select mid. And boost the mid in my voice, because it's mono, that's the middle. So what I would do with this 21, 29 is when you boost your middle, you can cut your sides down so that when you listening in mono, your piano is still there, but your vocal sits better in the mix when it's in the stereo field. So that's one way. Another way would be, yes, you can cut it with another mid like that, precisely, and just don't even bother with the boosting the vocal like that. So that's another way. You can just cut it straight in the mid, and that's gonna carve out that mono space right for your vocal to shine in that spot. So that's another way you can do it. What else I like about this is whenever you making boosts, any type of boost like this, so what you can do when you click this button here, hopefully the menu pop up. Let me see. So this is called the auto gain. What it does is whenever you make any boosts and stuff like that, instead of your vocal or anything just automatically getting louder, it's going to basically keep your vocal volume the same, but your vocal still is going to sound brighter. So this is like when you're gain staging and you're adding decibels by making boosts, it's not going to like boost your voice. It's actually just going to compensate the rest of the frequencies to just allow this area to be boosted. So in a sense, it's kind of turning everything else down. So even over here, so it's actually doing something like this. It's turning everything else down, but keeping this at 0 so that you're not gaining in volume. So that's kind of what it's doing. So I love that feature. That's worked wonders when you trying to gain stage and basically you do want to make a boost, but you don't want to like keep increasing volume. That's what this button is for. So that's another gem. Another thing with the File Filter ProQ, it gives you so much control with your notches. Like for this particular notch, you don't have to always leave a slope on 12 decibels. You can change the way the slope and the curves is affecting the frequencies. Like it might be some vocals or whatever that's right here in this area that's just too loud and it's like a mountain. Instead of you getting that one little notch like this and making it like that, you can just control that whole area like this by changing the slope and how you affect that particular range of sound. All right, so another thing that I like about the File Filter ProQ is on the master bus, sometimes you might have an imbalance between your left channel and your right channel. One may be louder than the other. This right here on the master channel, you have this knob right there. You can change that to mono source or left and right. And you can literally adjust how much is going on the left or the right to compensate and make it equally in volume. You get what I'm saying? So I would use this technique on the master channel. So that's another dope reason. Like a lot of EQs don't give you this type of control. So with this zero latency, this is another feature I like. You got the natural phase and the linear phase. When you click linear phase, it's going to behave sort of like the EQ in Logic, the standard EQ that comes with Logic. So here though, it gives you features to oversample. And basically what oversampling does is, let's say you on sound design and you start off with a sound that's not high in quality and you do your cuts, boosts, and you get how you want the sound to be like, right? You can oversample that sound and make it sound a little bit more higher quality. But I don't use this feature too often. I use it sometimes, but use it sparingly, because if you use it like in Pro Tools, for instance, sometimes when I use this linear phase, if I use it on vocals, it'll like make my vocals go off beat like slightly by some milliseconds. Of course, you can fix that or whatever in the mix and use plugins and other stuff to fix that, but it's more work. It's more work, and sometimes it's not worth the benefits. So I just keep EQing and whatnot until I get something I like. So another thing, you guys like to do this and cut your vocals out, and you got them thin vocals. I don't recommend doing that. Either use a multi-band compressor, which is like I use C4 or C6 in waves. And what you do is you go to about 50, 70-ish, right? I take the range down some, and then I turn it down like this. And this is gonna just duck it. It's gonna keep ducking that low end, and it's gonna sound so much more natural than just flat out cutting it. Like, I don't like that sound anymore. I used to do that a lot before I learned how to use multi-band compressors and other ways to accomplish that. Another way you can do that, and why I like the File Filter ProQ, is because a lot of times multi-band compressors like this, you don't have as many notches. So for your explosives like P's, P, P, and B's, those explosives, sometimes multi-band compressors don't get it all, and you don't want the vocal to sound too thin and too naked, right? So that's when I would use the File Filter ProQ. I'll do this, probably widen it a bit like that, something like this, turn it into a dynamic, put this back on 0, and cut it down like that. Go here to auto and adjust the threshold accordingly. So depending on the volume of the sound, you get what I'm saying? So these are the reasons why File Filter ProQ is the best. I would say one of the best reasons is because you can literally get the correct tone inside of your scale with this MIDI keyboard down here when you create your notches. That's fire. That's fire. So these are some of the reasons why I love the File Filter ProQ. They pricey, but is it worth it? The File Filter ProQ and that File Filter Saturn, and maybe they compressor, and maybe they L2, what do they call it? The L2 plugin. It's like a limiter. That limiter worth it, the ProQ3 worth it, and Saturn worth it. I can't speak about the other plugins. So with my channel, I'm getting ready to start talking about all of the plugins that I use and how I use them. And you guys, if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and hit that sub and hit the bell so you'll be able to get those, because I'm about to start popping videos out like crazy. I'm finally done making that album, y'all. The album coming out in 2 days. February 14th is dropping. It'll be on all streaming platforms. So anyway, like I say, this is what we about to be talking about. If that's something you're interested in, go ahead and hit that sub button. And if you got any questions about the File Filter ProQ, or go ahead in the comments and just tell me how you use it. I might not know something that you know. So let's share the knowledge, because that's why I'm here. This is a community, and it's all love. And I'm out. Y'all have a good one.